Okay, so you're diving headfirst into the world of AI, and you're not messing around.
Right. You've brought this really fascinating mix of sources to the table. Like, we're talking hardcore AI learning platforms mixed with cutting-edge AI headlines. It's a lot to process.
You want to get the full picture, not just the textbook definition of AI, right? You want to know how it's actually playing out in the real world.
Exactly. So that's what we're doing today. We're connecting all the dots, giving you that AI transformation cheat sheet you need.
That's like decoding the matrix, one headline and learning platform at a time.
Okay, so speaking of learning platforms, can we talk about ZAKA AI for a second?
Oh yeah, they're not just dipping their toes in the AI education pool, they're doing cannonballs.
It's intense. They've got these 20-week specializations in everything. AI, machine learning, data science, you name it, they've got it.
And they're not just about theory either, are they? It's like they're laser focused on getting you hired.
Absolutely. Their whole approach is about practical application, getting you job ready. They even have programs like Hire from ZAKA, corporate training, even AI consultancy for businesses. They're not playing around.
They're based in both Delaware and Lebanon too, which I find interesting.
Yeah, it adds a cool international dynamic.
Speaking of international, you flagged some pretty massive AI news this week. Like, did you see what Adobe is doing with Adobe Elements? They're giving it this crazy AI makeover.
I know, right? This is a prime example of how AI isn't some futuristic fantasy anymore. It's here, it's now, and it's making things like professional level video and photo editing easy for everyone.
It's like having a Hollywood studio at your fingertips. Remember when you needed, like, serious skills to do stuff like that?
It's crazy how much things have changed. Even their new depth blur tool, it's all AI powered.
Mind-blowing. Okay, but you sent me this article about Nvidia, and they're making their super powerful AI model, NVLM 1.0, open source.
Yeah, it's huge news. Basically, imagine Nvidia deciding to just, like, share the recipe for their secret sauce.
Wait, so anyone could potentially use their technology now?
Potentially, yeah. Researchers, developers, even you and I. It's a bold move, that's for sure.
It's definitely a game changer. I mean, it kind of reminds me of what we were just talking about with ZAKA AI, right? It's all about making AI more accessible, whether it's through education or making the technology itself more available.
It's a trend, for sure. And speaking of groundbreaking AI developments, have you heard about Microsoft's AI Copilot?
Yeah, it's like they're trying to create the ultimate digital BFF, right?
It goes way beyond just answering your questions or setting reminders. This thing wants to summarize your day, help you make decisions, even read your emotions.
It's like, how much are we willing to let AI into our personal lives? It's a bit of a mind bender, and it's available on basically every platform, iOS, Android, Windows.
Pretty much, it's everywhere.
So on the one hand, it's super convenient, but it also makes you think about where we draw the line.
For sure. But before we go too far down that rabbit hole, let's zoom out for a sec.
Yeah.
You also included some other really interesting AI news from around the globe. It seems like AI isn't just a Silicon Valley thing anymore.
No kidding. I mean, did you see that article about how Google Arts and Culture is using AI to revolutionize how we interact with art?
So cool. And it's not just for fun either. Some experts believe AI could actually have a huge impact on Europe's GDP. We're talking about real economic change here.
AI is popping up everywhere. Even Google Maps is getting in on the action, using AI to navigate those crazy complicated roads in India.
It's like AI is slowly infiltrating every corner of the world.
It's crazy. But in the middle of all these mind-blowing AI advancements, that story you shared about Ali Ilsuki, the ZAKA AI graduate, really stood out to me.
I know, right? It's a great reminder that behind all the algorithms and code, there are real people whose lives are being directly impacted by this technology.
He used his ZAKA education to get an awesome internship, proving that this stuff translates into real job opportunities. It's inspiring.
Absolutely. It's not just about the tech, it's about empowering people like Ali.
And speaking of empowering people, we have to talk about those 5 AI tools for HR that you dug up. Now that's where things get really interesting. It's like AI is infiltrating the HR department. Who needs a resume when you've got algorithms, right?
It's pretty wild. We're not just talking about automating those boring, repetitive tasks anymore. AI is being used to analyze candidates on a whole other level. Like, have you heard of Pymetrics?
Yeah, they're the ones using neuroscience games to assess candidates, right?
Exactly. They're looking at things like cognitive and emotional traits, trying to predict how well someone will perform in a particular role. It's fascinating stuff.
It's kind of like mind reading for HR. But it makes you wonder, are we putting too much faith in these algorithms? What about that human element, the gut feeling you get when you meet someone?
That's the million-dollar question. It's a balancing act, for sure. On the one hand, you have companies like XTPA who are all about automating as much of the hiring process as possible.
It's efficient, right? No more sifting through resumes for weeks on end.
Exactly. But then you have to consider the potential downsides. Are we losing something valuable by removing human interaction from the equation?
And what about bias? I mean, can we really teach algorithms to be objective when humans themselves are inherently subjective?
It's a huge concern. That's why companies like Textio are so interesting. They're using AI to help companies write job descriptions that are more inclusive and less likely to discourage certain candidates.
So it's like using AI to fight AI bias. That's kind of poetic when you think about it.
Right. It's all about using this technology thoughtfully and making sure we're not just amplifying existing inequalities.
So how do we find that balance? Where do we go from here?
Well, a company called Eightfold AI is trying to address that very question. They're using AI to uncover those hidden talent pools that traditional recruiting methods might miss.
So instead of just filling the same old roles with the same old candidates, they're trying to diversify the workforce using AI.
Precisely. They're looking at skills and potential, not just what's on someone's resume or who they know.
That's really interesting. It sounds like AI could actually level the playing field in a lot of ways.
That's the hope, anyway.
Yeah.
But it's an ongoing conversation. As AI becomes more sophisticated, so do the ethical considerations.
It's a lot to think about, that's for sure. Speaking of mind-blowing AI developments, we have to talk about Perplexity AI. Have you seen this thing? It's like Google on steroids.
It's a game changer. I mean, who actually enjoys scrolling through pages and pages of search results? Perplexity AI gives you the answers you're looking for, without all the noise and clutter.
No more clicking through a million websites just to find that one nugget of information you need. Sign me up. But how does it actually work?
It's all about context and natural language processing. Perplexity AI doesn't just look for keywords. It tries to understand the intent behind your search and then synthesizes information from multiple sources to give you a comprehensive answer.
So it's like having a personal researcher at your fingertips.
Pretty much. And it cites its sources too, so you know the information is legit.
It's brilliant. But if this is the future of search, what does it mean for the Googles of the world?
That's the big question. It's clear that AI is forcing every industry to adapt, and the world of search is no exception.
It's a really exciting time to be alive, but it's also a bit overwhelming, right? With all these advancements happening so quickly, it's hard to know what to make of it all.
I hear you. It's like drinking from a fire hose of information sometimes. But that's why we're here, right? To break it down, make sense of it all, and figure out what it means for us as individuals.
So as we delve deeper into this world of AI, what are some of the key takeaways we should keep in mind? What's the big picture here? It's like we're finally realizing that AI isn't just science fiction anymore, right? It's not some far-off future. It's here, it's now, and it's only going to get more integrated into our lives.
Definitely. And I think the sources you picked out, they really highlight that shift. We're seeing companies like ZAKA AI make AI education more accessible, which is huge. And then there are these incredible AI tools that are popping up everywhere, transforming industries left and right.
It's like everything we do is going to have some sort of AI component to it soon, if it doesn't already.
Right. Like, think about Microsoft's AI Copilot. It's pushing the boundaries of what we thought AI could do, and it's just the beginning. And then you've got companies like Nvidia making their AI technology open source. It's mind-blowing.
It's both exciting and a little bit intimidating at the same time, don't you think? Like, what does it all mean for us in the long run?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone has all the answers. But that's part of what makes this whole AI revolution so fascinating.
I think the key is to approach it with a healthy dose of curiosity and maybe a little bit of caution, too.
Absolutely. We need to be asking the tough questions like, how do we make sure AI is used ethically? How do we prevent bias from seeping into these algorithms that are making decisions that affect our lives?
It's a lot of responsibility, and it's not just on the shoulders of the tech companies. It's on all of us to be informed and engaged in this conversation.
Absolutely. And that's why these deep dives are so important, right? They get people thinking critically about these issues and hopefully inspire them to be part of the solution.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the nuts and bolts of AI education to the potential impact on everything from our jobs to our personal lives. But I think the biggest takeaway for me is that we're not just along for the ride. We have a say in how this AI revolution unfolds.
I love that. It's not about being afraid of the robots. It's about shaping the future of technology in a way that benefits everyone.
Well said. So to our listener out there, We'll leave you with this. The future of AI is being written right now, and you have the power to pick up the pen and write your own chapter. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the ever-evolving world of AI.